With a smile and a raspy voice, Tom Allen walks up to the mic this week, and again with a smile and a raspy voice that never left the entire press conference, he ripped Clemson's defense. He ripped how Clemson's defense had fallen apart. He ripped the leadership without really ripping them personally. The numbers don't lie. That was one of several things Tom Allen said this week when talking about the defense, and how he's going to fix it. I'm glad you're hanging out with me today. If you like talking college football, you like talking Clemson football, I hope you will subscribe. It is free, and I do appreciate it. And a happy Friday morning to those of you who's watching me on the live stream, watching in the future. Happy whatever day it is for you. And if it's not a happy day for you, go turn on some sad music, sit in a dark corner. Don't do that. I'm just kidding. Bringing in a guy like Tom Allen or a Matt Luke is incredible for us fans. It's the answer to prayers that guys like me, who's in his bonus room with a channel talking about his favorite team and, the community he grew up in. It's what I've been ranting and raving about for a long time. I've said that we needed a bunch of people on this Clemson coaching staff to get back to the standard. And the idea is that not all of you, but some of you has come back to me and said, well, the graduation rate is the standard. That's the new thing. And my response to you is, if that's the truth, people would be paying $400 a ticket to shuffle into an 81,000-seat stadium to watch a spelling bee. That's not the truth. And Tom Allen didn't buy into that. This week, Tom Allen walks out after practice, talks to the media. My dad hit me up and said, Brian, you've got to go watch this. And my dad's like, I'm like you. I'm not going to, love Coach Swinney, but I'm not going to listen to Swinney's press conferences because it's coach speak. Coach speak. And that's what he's supposed to do. Dabo Swinney's supposed to be the face of the program. He comes out, he makes sure everything's all right. He's the PR department while also being the head coach. But guys like Tom Allen, they're the one who's cooking the meal. They're the one who's making sure that the restaurant's running. So what Tom Allen said, the film doesn't lie. I'm here to fix the defense. It hasn't been up to the standard. It was really good for a long time, and last year it wasn't. I know that. The players know that. It was an issue. The numbers don't lie. You watch the film doesn't lie. And so it became a recurring theme each week, and we go through the cut-ups that are made up by plays and by calls, and then you also organize them by explosive plays that you give up. And when we had all those explosive runs, just the misfits in the run game and not being gap sound for whatever reason, we had 4 different categories and say, okay, why did we feel this play was the result that was in a negative way? And then identify those and group them that way, and then go back and try to make sure that we're doing a great job drill-wise of getting those things corrected. Obviously, it's a different scheme, but you also have a lot of the same players, so you want to just make sure that a lot of the things I felt like were just guys out of position. This is kind of hard to read. It's not about pointing fingers on that. It's just trying to say, okay, this is why this play occurred, and we got to make sure that we get these fixed. Ooh. Because obviously some of them are just fundamentally. You got so many gaps. Every defense has gaps you have to defend. And so you have to be very, very gap sound, and you have to be very physical at the point of attack. But the biggest thing is just making sure you get your cleats in the ground, you're set, you're ready to play, and you have great knowledge of what you're supposed to do. So if you're not quite sure what you're doing, you'll be out of position. And then against elite athletes, oh God, Coach Allen, I'm going to make an edit here, and elite coaches who know how to scheme and exploit players who are out of position and players who are not, tackling Lenoris Sellers. Why did I name that guy's name out? Oh, it's because he ran all over us. You have no chance to tackle them in space. Whew. So it's kind of all of the above kind of thing. But I think the glaring thing was the gap fits. They were not consistent, and that's something even again today with all the drills that we do from individual to group to team have to align with that. End quote. Now I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, there's so much more. Let me see about reading this part right here. This is Allen speaking again. I think just structurally, I think you can see that when you watch film, not having an edge many times cost us last season and gave up several of those explosive plays. So that, to me, is you go back and say, okay, what was it? A schematic issue? Was it a talent issue? Was it a technique issue? Was it a poor effort? But the bottom line is we have to structurally address that. And so that's a big part on every one of our calls. Somebody's the edge of our defense, and we have to make sure we're doing a great job of playing with technique and doing our job. And so even today, when we did it the right way, we got the great result. If you don't, you get a negative result defensively. So I think that's about being disciplined, and it's about being physical as well. So, Coach Allen, you're telling me that it's about discipline, it's about fulfilling your role, it's about controlled intensity, being physical, but not stupid. You're telling me it's all about that. You're telling me, Coach Allen, that in your many years of experience, not many as in small, but multiple years of experience, that getting players in the right spots, knowing what they're supposed to do, you're telling me that that's going to change things? Shocking. Now, folks, I'm going to read something from Khalil Barnes here in just a second. He spoke to the media after practice, and I read this morning, and I have mixed feelings about it, but it deals with Coach Allen, and it also deals with the players. It deals with Wes Goodwin. But folks, I want to tell you something. The first part is Coach Allen is looking at the players, and he has only so much time in this spring practice. Then there will be, the gap in between spring camp and fall camp before the preseason. He only has so much time with them allowed by the NCAA. He is challenging the players to take responsibility for what they did and they didn't do. To really understand, when this happens, I react this way. You don't have time to sit and think about how you're going to react. At this level of football, unless you're playing Wake Forest, unless you're playing some FCS school that's terrible, when you get to this level of football, if you have to stop and think, I wonder what I'm supposed to touchdown. Oh, that was that section, that gap I was supposed to be. That's what happens, okay? But I'm going to give you another angle. Notice that Coach Allen is talking about this player didn't know to do this and this player didn't know to do that. And these players, they were not fulfilling what they were the role they were supposed to fulfill. Okay? Is that okay to say? Is Coach Allen the only defensive coach on Clemson's staff? Riddle me that, Batman. So while we're talking about players, and while he's not ripping his staff publicly, it's kind of like when Dabo walks up there to the mic and, hey, man, I'm telling you, faith, family, freedom, and everybody wets their drawers. He knows how to talk to the Clemson fan base. He knows what to, but behind closed doors, we know by the firing of Brandon Streeter, Wes Goodwin, that I think he's getting tired of being disrespected. And he walks back up there to the mic. Faith, family, freedom. Everybody, yes, we're a Christian football team. Sorry. Behind closed doors, he's turning the tide, and he brings in Tom Allen. Tom Allen is going to do the same thing. He's going to talk about scheme, and the players need to be in position and understand that. But don't you for 1 second think that Tom Allen is not looking over his defensive coaching staff and going, the linebackers were out of place. Whose job was that? Well, that was Wes. If my memory serves me correct, Wes was coaching the linebackers. Okay, who's coaching the defensive ends? Well, it's so-and-so. Who's coaching the interior of the line? Well, you know, he's a former Clemson player, and everybody really likes him. And listen, I'm not knocking Nick Eason. I'm not. Who's coaching our safeties? Mickey Kine. And Mickey Kine, he's like, hey. That's good and stuff, but were our safeties in place? Mike Reed's been with us for 14 years, 15 years, and I'm not knocking anyone here. I'm just naming out names. I'm telling you, Tom Allen is looking at the coaching staff too. And if anyone overlooks that, I'm telling you, you're looking over an integral part of this entire defensive renovation. This restructuring, not even restructuring, he's revamping it. He's looking at the players. Sure, he's looking at what Wes did or didn't do. He's also looking at the staff that was sitting there supporting Wes. This was not all on Wes, y'all. Wes is the sacrificial lamb, and y'all, or some of you, not all of you. I'm not going to overgeneralize there, but I'm going to tell you this: there's a lot of you who love to kick Wes in the butt, pull his underwear over his head, and shove him out into the road. But he had an entire defensive coaching staff there that helped him give up nearly 300 yards to a Citadel team that didn't even make the FCS playoff. So bye-bye Wes. What about the other guys? What were they doing? Tom Allen, why did I say it that way? It's like I've formed an accent on top of the Southern accent. Tom Allen is not only challenging his players. Tom Allen is looking at his coaches going, every one of you helped Wes lower the standard at Clemson defensively. And if any of y'all are missing that, I challenge you. Whether you like me or not, whether you think I'm being negative or what, okay, great, wonderful. Let's take that off the table. He's challenging. He is challenging those defensive coaches because they're still there and Wes is gone. A bunch of them are there. You need to think about that. I'm going to get to this real quick, and I'm not going to go through this. I read this article about Khalil Barnes. He spoke to the media after practice. He's talking about Coach Allen. Yeah, he's brought a lot of energy to the room. Last year, regardless of anything anybody has to say about Wes Goodwin, it was more on the players. We weren't physical. We didn't trust the scheme. So this year, he just kind of brought it. At the end of the day, it's all about accountability, toughness, and love. Once we truly feel what he's trying to do right now is that love part. When you love somebody, you'll go above and beyond for them. Right now, he's showing that love, and we're looking like we have a chance to be a great defense. This is a long article. I say a long article. It's decent size. I'm not going to continue to read every word to it. A word of it. I just want to say this to anyone who's listening to that. I'm glad that Khalil Barnes is not passing the buck on to Wes Goodwin. And players, they have skin in the game. They do. Why? They're on the field. But folks, I'm telling you, and I give you this example all the time. I want you to think about companies or businesses, whatever, that you've worked for, small or large, and how many times you did what you were told and you were only developed to the level that the company that you worked for, no matter what it may be, actually developed you. Unless you sought out someone in your spare time to develop you for the company that you work for, they were the lid. And I've experienced this. If you work for a company and you're developing and you go to them in the right way, in a professional way, go through the proper channels, you're not undercutting anyone. You're doing everything, you hear me, the right way. And you start to share with them strategic ideas of how things could be done a little differently, and it would make life easier. It could increase profits, and you lay it out for them to where a 3-year-old with a learning disability could understand it. And then you suddenly find out they don't want to change, because the goal is not really what they say the goal is. The goal is that you do things their way. And if you just happen to arrive at the goal, well, I guess luck does exist. I'm glad that, again, that Khalil Barnes is not throwing Wes under the bus. But I agree/disagree with him. I agree that it was not all on Wes. He said it wasn't on Wes. It's not all on Wes. It's on that coaching staff that's still sitting up under Tom Allen, and we won't know which one of them are directly responsible. Some of them are innocent, and they're guilty by association. Some, and this is what some of you need to accept, Tom Allen will weed out which coaches should and should not be on his defensive coaching staff. He's doing that as well. And I trust the man and his experience and his passion for the game and his seeming love for Clemson. I understand it's a business. He could go to another team next year. But the energy and the passion that he is bringing along with the worthwhile experience, that not only comes with the players or addresses the players on the field, that addresses the guys who's coaching around him. And trust me, just like he's figuring out which players shouldn't see more playing time, he's figuring out which coaches were actually not doing their job, but Wes took the fall. Just letting you know that. Letting you know that. But I'm telling you this, Tom Allen and the way he's approaching it, I'm very, very much a fan of what he's doing. Get in here, say hello to some people. Got Ruben Terry. Yes, I was late, my friend. Howdy, Parker Henderson. Talked to Parker this morning. Parker, it's good to see you, man. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend. Ba, 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 ba. I appreciate it, dude. Really do. Appreciate all you do. Harriet, Dewan, good to see you, man. KJ, good to see you. Will, man. Hey, you were late. Normally, Will, man, you're right in here, man. I'm just picking at you. He's love from Florida. About time for a new defensive. About time, I think is what you're saying, for new defensive leadership. Yeah. Evian Terrell said they needed to be pushed. Yep. They got to stop the run. 100%. Sorry, I'm late. Hey, I need a letter from your parents letting me know why you were late. Okay. Good to see you, man. Joey Cogdell, howdy, Brian. Think this will help bring us back to a spot at the top or more rebuilding? I think for this year, definitely a spot at the top. Clemson has, I think, 8 returning starters on the offense, 4 or 5 offensive linemen coming back. Obviously, Cade year 3 as a starter with year 3, Garrett Riley. We know the wide receivers are the best since probably T. Higgins, that group that T. Higgins was with. Defensively, I think we returned 7 starters. You have Tom Allen, who's a freak, coaching them. I think so many good things are in our favor this year. Most of the big games are at Clemson, and I don't think there's rebuilding this year. 2026 will be rebuilding unless something weird happens. But I think that this year Clemson can be a legitimate contender. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Thanks for supporting the channel. I see it symbol beside your name, my man. Intelligent Savage 629, Full Facts Brian. Full facts. Thank you, my man. Good to see you. That is the honest truth. Absolutely straight facts. Rump seems like a hard-nosed coach. I bet he is a million times happier now. Yeah, probably so. You know, It's if you've ever seen that movie from the early 2000s, The Replacements with Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman, rest in peace. Jon Favreau played the linebacker. He was crazy. That's what I imagine I imagine, especially Tom Allen being just the crazy linebacker. If you haven't seen that, I will caution you. There's some questionable scenes there, but overall, the movie's hilarious, and Jon Favreau is great as the crazy former Michigan State, former SWAT team tactical ops member, now turned NFL linebacker. You got to go watch it. That's what I imagine. If you get rid of a dead octopus, you have to get rid of the dead tentacles because they are all dead. Yeah, you're right. I'm late. What happened? Tom Allen happened, and it's awesome, Blake Ellis. It's awesome. Allen said the defense practiced poorly last year and set expectations for this year. He also said we are stopping the run clearly, a point of emphasis. Yeah, absolutely. Rob Ellen, it's good to see you. Folks, leave your comments. Let me know. Are you feeling about this year? Cautiously optimistic, as one of you said. That could have been Nathan Rice or Roger Parks. I can't remember which one said that. But I love that. I'm cautiously optimistic for this season. I'm shell-shocked from the past 5 years. 2023 did a lot to me as a fan. I admit that. But here's the difference. We have more experienced coaches at Clemson, and that matters. Hit the thumbs up. It helps me on YouTube. I know you're like, why do you mention that? Hey, I'm trying to grow my channel. If you like what I'm doing, I hope you'll subscribe. It is free. Pass it along to your friends who love college football, especially Clemson football. Y'all take care of yourself. And as always, go Tigers.